Hello again, friends and fans. Raptor here. If you're not yet excited, you had better be now, because at Gamescom 2013, Wargame Red Dragon was announced, and the Wargame franchise takes to the seas of China. Oh boy. If you want to see this article, click down below at the Play Nation link down there. But we'll go through the article together, and I'll give you my hopes and dreams and speculations and expectations. So during Gamescom, we had the chance to sit down with co-founder and chief executive of Eugen Systems, Alexis Le Desiré, to get a presentation of the upcoming Wargame Red Dragon. The game will be bringing us the Asian front lines of Eugen Systems' fictive history of a Cold War going hot. The Asian front will be fought with the Korean Peninsula exploding and war and pulling the surrounding countries in an all-out conflict. The factions will be the USA, USSR, China, Japan, North and South Korea. He hinted at the possibility of French being forced in the conflict as well. The time frame has been moved up a decade, a choice that was mainly made to even out the Chinese faction because they went through modernization. In the 70s and 80s, the Chinese would have been an army set up purely by spamming very cheap units. Interesting. The first thing you noticed during the presentation was that the map was shown was almost a dry desert-like area, with one of the map being a coastline and a rather large portion of the map being a bay. It was clear that we were not in Europe anymore, and the amount of water hinted at the possibility of ships. The new game will bring, naives to the world of wargaming. The presentation included the smaller patrol boats. It was also mentioned that the range of ships will be much bigger. They're still working on finding out which ships to add, but the one thing is certain: carriers and submarines were not going to be included in the RTS. They would be kept in a turn-based strategic part of the campaign. So they're taking possibly the dynamic campaign will remain, where you can move them like single units. A good guess would be like battle groups were moved in Wargame Air-Land Battle. The campaign will also be updated with the ability to customize battle groups. You'll also be able to have multiple battle groups engaged in the same battles in the RTS section of the campaign. Sounds like DLC to me. According to the Eugen Systems, different play modes of the campaign will be enabled based on how popular they are in the Wargame Air-Land Battle. Interesting. The engine had to undergo a few changes to handle ships, mainly because ships are much bigger than tanks and other land-based units, but looks really fun to see patrols zigzagging through a fleet of other boats without them being colliding at any point. Okay, interesting. So far, little disappointed. Seems a little too early. Seems like they should have maybe polished Air-Land Battle out a little bit more, or at least, hence it is Air-Land Battle. This is a nice line in the sequel. This is, of course, my personal opinion. But I mean, all good. Great. Third game in an already amazingly successful and amazingly well-loved and well-received series. Land and Sea also added was the capability for amphibious assaults. During the presentation, a number of LAV-25s, also known as light armored vehicles, happily swam across the river to flank a town. This will surely add another perspective of gameplay, where shorelines are no longer safe from sneaky attacks by your opponent. With the addition of the new factions, including naval assets of the faction, the total amount of units in the game will be, holy crap, 1,200. Wow. Some of the new units that were shown in the presentation included the French Leclerc MBT, main battle tank, South Korea's K1 MBT, the United States MH-60L Blackhawk Direct Action Penetrator. Wow, that sounds like a very fun toy for you ladies. And the French version of the Tigre Eurocopter attack helicopter. Very good. So that's where the French may come in. The maps were also improved, mainly in the area of how different levels of terrain are handled. The previous games had clear parts between two pieces of terrain with the different evaluations. I think he means elevations. In Wargame Red Dragon, the terrain flows like in real life, with hills and mountains blocking line of sight, making some areas of the map dominated by infantry and light vehicles. Also, due to how realistic the terrain is, it will be a lot easier to flank each other and hit those heavy tanks in the weaker side or rear armor. The biggest change to the UI comes in a small preview of any unit you mouse over. When you mouse over your unit in the field, you'll see a small picture of the unit zoomed in all the way in. This is to help players learn the new factions units. Well, there will be quite a few to learn. North Korea, South Korea, China, Japan, plus all the new French and wow, okay. Most people will have a fairly good idea what the units are on the European front, but when it comes to learning the names of new units from the Asian factions, it becomes a bit harder. That's a fair statement. So to help players learn the units, Eugen Systems have added a preview in the corner of the screen. Very smart indeed. Because that'll be very difficult to, if you're telling somebody to advance with the, a Japanese named tank, it might be very hard to, differentiate those different names. For those of you who know Metal War Assault Squad, a lot of the tanks are, Ho-Ha, T-Ho, Cheeto, Hoga, Hago, stuff like that, so that could be a little confusing. Eugen System is working on a number of different updates to the engine to allow for improvements of the wargame experience, but until they know what they will be, it's possible for them to implement. They're holding it pretty close to the west. Interesting. I think he means chest. But when I asked about see, this is written by somebody who doesn't speak English, so my apologies, but we'll get through it. When he asked about the chance of getting day and night cycles into the game, he replies that it's one of those things that they're working on to see if they can implement, but it brings several new problems. Interesting. Since it's a nighttime switch, it would alter the gameplay a lot, and issues caused by dynamic lighting effects from up to 20 players units would be severe. 20 players, looks like 10v10s are back then. Over 500,000 units of Wargame Air Land Battle have been sold to Eugen Systems, and they've been very happy with the reaction of players. They're happy about the notice how I'm skipping the name there. Had let's see, a lot of community responses helping to balance the game and updates. Most recently, the addition of its first DLC containing new units and a new game mode based on community feedback. They're testing a small change to the new game mode to make it even more balanced. There is no release dates currently set for Wargame Red Dragon. However, I must admit that I believe since this article was released, I'm hearing rumors of March 2014. But anyway, friends and fans, by the way, that was by Ghost Viper, written on the Play Nation website. I'll give you a link there. There's the entire article for you. So, again, my thoughts. Awesome. Great to see this franchise expand. Little disappointed to see a new game so soon, but the fact that they've already started on this before doing Wargame Air Land Battle, obviously, means that they obviously had a bigger picture in store. Now, Wargame Air Land Battle, I hope we get out of Scandinavia. If we're going to Asia, let's have a couple of campaigns that possibly go into the Middle East, possibly Russia. Let's do things like that. A deep strike mission inside the Soviet Union, a campaign where it's 6 missions to do something like that. Let's see community creativity, because of course, as they just stated, community is what keeps these kinds of games alive. And since you guys have loved this so much, and I've loved it so much, and we promoted it, and free advertisement for them, for us doing all of these videos and other websites and other people promoting the game like crazy, that's what keeps things like this going. So hats off to you, Alexis, if you're watching this. Hats off to the entire Eugen team. You guys are incredible. You guys have the biggest ears I've ever seen on a developer. You guys have listened like no other. When there are changes, you try your best, and I do believe that you are a fantastic company and a fantastic team and a fantastic group. So nicely done. So anyway, with that said, a lot of great things could be coming from this. Really want to see. I heard 1932, by the way. I've been hearing a lot of conflicting things. It says modernization in the 70s to 80s. This could take place in the 90s. I'm hoping for the 30s. Really want to see Japan invade Manchuria. Really want to see North Korea invade South Korea, or maybe vice versa. Maybe there'll be a campaign where the South invades the North for some reason. Who knows? But anyway, those are my thoughts for now. Go read this article. Go continue to Google this like crazy. Figure this out. Go check out the Wargame the Air Land Battle forums on the Wargame Air Land Battle website. Links for all that will be down below. Sorry it was a little boring read, but you know what? This is important news, and this is all we've got for now. So when you get a little morsel, savor every little bit of it. So until next time, friends and fans, this is Raptor reminding you to bring that cornucopia of pain, keep the password and pin pants strong. Shout out to you, Alexis Le Terrasse, and until next time, au revoir. Bye.